What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Square Circle Talks. Today, we're here with probably the biggest guest in our, well, not probably the biggest guest in our channel's history. We'd like to thank Kaun here. It's an honor to introduce him. He is a former Ring of Honor Trios Champion, former Maryland Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champion, and a current Ring of Honor star, and the most recent All Elite Wrestling signing. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaun, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are y'all doing?
Not too bad. Not too
Great
bad.
now. We've been waiting on this interview for about, 2 weeks now?
Something like that.
Something like that. I mean, it was kind of a shot in the dark just to DM you, and then I saw that you DM me back, and I was like, all right, here we go.
Yeah, it's funny because I told him, I said, you might as well. I don't know if we'll get a response. I'm like, whoa, this dude, he's actually going to let us interview him. I was pretty excited. So it's awesome to give a channel like this size an opportunity to interview, a bigger star here.
I see the horror posters behind you. You a big murder mystery kind of guy?
I am. Child's Play 2 is probably my favorite right now. I got a bunch of action figures from NECA figures out there. Got a whole horror tattoo sleeve happening on my shin. So definitely.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right now, I think I'm reading. I found the book on Hereditary where it has just the whole script, the screenplay, and I'm just reading the screenplay. Just because.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Where'd you find that at?
I think somewhere on. I actually went to A24's website. I was just looking through the items they had for sale, and I just bought that. Yeah.
So, Ring of Honor Supercard, you were actually paired with Tully Blanchard. How does it feel to be paired with someone with that experience and that kind of history, like someone like Tully Blanchard, with that kind of tag team history?
It's kind of surreal. I didn't know what was happening that day until I showed up to the venue, and then kind of heard rumblings oh, you're gonna be put with Tully and Brian, because Tully and I knew that we were gonna team together. And then I met Tully, and he told us his plan, this whole enterprises thing, and then kind of off to the races, at least that night. Helped us put the match together, and then he literally just sat down and talked to us for 2 hours and just gave us all this knowledge of little things that you can do in the ring, psychology stuff. And I'm like, this dude's a Hall of Famer. I never would have in my entire career be working with this guy. Now I'm under his wing, and man, in 2 years, I think I'm gonna be probably one of the best wrestlers on the planet, honestly.
Yes.
Well, there you go. I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, you said that he talked to you for about 2 hours. Do you want to give us any sneak peeks on what he said?
Just little snippets there, things that he does in the ring, just being very smart and kind of using your common sense when it comes to putting matches together and outsmarting your opponents. And he just talked about his mentality. So he was just giving us little snippets. I was trying to remember everything. I probably forgot half of it. If anything, he was just hey, I don't work with mid-card guys. I work with top guys. I was hey, top guy right here. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's definitely got to feel good. I mean, has there been any talks with you guys making an appearance on Dynamite anytime soon that you're able to say?
I think everything's kind of up in the air right now, honestly. I know that there's some stuff happening with ROH, and contracts are still getting figured out in terms of TV deals and whatnot, but I'm just making sure that I'm ready. So whenever I get that phone call or that DM from Tony Khan, hey, I'm ready to go.
So you've been in Ring of Honor for a while now. What's the vibe like for someone that's been a part of the company for so long to see someone like Tony Khan buy up the company? You guys have high expectations? You guys happy with the direction so far, and what the future is looking bright for Ring of Honor? Or what's your take on the current status and the future of Ring of Honor under Tony Khan?
It's very different. At least I've just after one day and then seeing the ROH title being on TV on Dynamite with Jonathan the Gresham. I got to work with that guy a couple times. Definitely very different. Everyone got laid off in December basically. So and only a select few of us got brought back. So this whole new revamp, this whole new vision. It's kind of weird for me, honestly. My contract ended. I was okay, I'm done with ROH. We'll see what happens with them. But I'm signed with AEW now, and then he buys ROH and it's all right, maybe we'll put you back on that product. I'm what the hell? I thought I got this step up. But again, Tony Khan's vision, having people from Dynamite on the ROH roster. Samoa Joe came back. You got Gresham there. I could be
the Young Bucks.
Yeah, the Young Bucks, FTR, the Briscoes are gonna be there. It's gonna be fun.
Speaking of the Briscoes, you've experienced to share the ring with them, haven't you?
A couple times, yeah.
A couple times. What's that experience like? I mean, that's gotta be surreal for you.
Oh, definitely. I think they were the second match back for Moses and I after the pandemic, or at least when we were doing pandemic tapings. I was all right, here we go. We had the 6-man with EC3 the week prior, And then it was this match. And this is kind of what I feel like we've been building towards the entire time. Super surreal, like awesome guys, hard hitting dudes. I wanted to go out there and just fight and show them that, hey, we're on your level too. I also feel like there was a lot left on the table. I wish we could have done like a whole year program with those guys and like old guard, young, new guard coming in and try to take y'all spots. Because I think Moses and I were the only new tag team that they brought up in that division. So at least I got the rest of them once, but I think there's so much room there for potential of just building this feud. And then they went under.
Well, it's cool because it's got to feel nice to be one of the first Ring of Honor stars that Tony Khan has really signed. And he mentioned that your signing of yourself and Toa and how you're working with Brian Cage. You mentioned how that's a great example of the fluidity between the two companies. So it's got to be kind of cool to see your name as being like one of those examples of how, this going forward, he sees this as being the future, basically.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, if anything, Lethal was the first one that they brought over.
Yeah.
Me, it's still kind of surreal to me. Like, we'll see what happens. I'm excited for it, though. Again, just kind of like flabbergasted. I get to work with Tully. That dude's fucking awesome.
So you had a great run with Shane Taylor and Moses with the Shane Taylor Promotions. You guys are actually tied for the second longest trios title reign in Ring of Honor history.
Are we not first? Why are we not first now? Because Nexus Squad had them for the entire pandemic and never did defend the belts until we lost. I mean, we beat them for those belts. I think we're number one, honestly.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good. What was
on a technicality? It's a technicality, a little asterisk.
All right.
Maybe it doesn't mean as much when they're for their reign. But what is your what was the experience like with that trios title? That's something I'm really hoping to get. They bring it to AEW. As I love the trios division, Ring of Honor. What was that like for you? That experience?
It was dope. I never thought that would have been something that I would have been doing at Ring of Honor, and then we met with Shane, saw his vision, saw that he wanted to start this promotion. Was like, hey, this is fucking awesome. Let's team up. Let's do this thing. This is your baby, but we have nothing going on. Let's roll through. You're killing it right now. And then we got put into the 6-man division. And then once we won the belts, my whole goal, I think all of our goal was, hey, we're going to make these titles relevant. Or we're going to make 6-man tag wrestling relevant and make that the most popular thing on the show. We got over at ROH without anybody's help. We just had consistent performances, bangers every single time, made those belts mean something. Again, had the longest reign, at least during that entire era. And that's what people were talking about. That's what they wanted to see no matter what. But yet, the machine wasn't behind us. So definitely had a chip on our shoulder, which made us wrestle even harder. We had to go out there and prove ourselves constantly. Hey, this shit means something. Y'all need to respect us. And if you're not going to respect us, we're going to take this on the indies and defeat people out there. So it was a hell of a reign, though.
So what is the biggest difference? Because you've wrestled with both crowds and pandemic. Talk about some of the hurdles that you had to, overcome to kind of get used to being in the pandemic era and not having that kind of, because we talk about how the crowd is a huge factor in wrestling. What are some of the hurdles you had to overcome to, still perform at that level without the, motivation and the fans, the fans in the arena?
Excuse me. Honestly, it was kind of easy for me because we went from the ROH dojo where you were having these matches in front of your peers, maybe 5 or 6 people every single day, where you were just assuming and trying to imagine what it would feel like to wrestle in front of a crowd. Most of the time, I really didn't need to wrestle in front of Ring of Honor crowds, maybe 5 or 6 matches before the pandemic. So then we went from this training atmosphere to no crowds. I'm like, cool, I'm already used to performing like no one else is really here, but just over amplifying everything that we're doing in the ring. I like to hit hard, so that's not going to be a hard transition. And then just emote even more. We've been trained to do that basically in front of 4 gray walls. And now we're doing this again with no fans. So it was easy for me.
Yeah, that seems like an easy transition. So going from no fans back to fans, you've been on AEW Dark quite a few times. Talk about your experience there. I mean, you've wrestled some great guys. Frankie Kazarian, Andrade, Adam Cole. How is it to share the ring with those guys?
I knew that when I got there that I had to make these moments, and I had to show these people that, hey, no matter what, I belong in this ring with whoever they're putting me against. I'm not out here to just get beat up in 3 minutes. That happens, but
right.
The crowd was going to remember me from what I did to those people that I faced. And even just with getting the opportunity alone, once we all got let go from ROH, I got a little birdie in my ear and I was like, hey, AEW wants to talk to you. Just reach out to whoever, reach out to them, got the opportunity. Andrade, someone I grew up watching all the time. So I'm like, oh, that's fucking dope. Like kind of nerve wracking, right? Like I was in a 6-man tag for about a year and a half, tag team since I started wrestling. And now I'm on this huge platform by myself. And that's a little nerve wracking. But then you kind of just lock in and have this mentality of really showing up, showing these people that I'm going to be a star, be one of the best wrestlers in the world. And it threw me in the fire with Adam Cole, Andrade, Kazarian. And like even the Kazarian match, people were chanting my name.
Yeah.
In 3 minutes, chanting my name. So I did pretty fucking good then.
What was the biggest thing we hear about AEW that's really different compared to some of the other major promotions is they say the environment backstage is amazing. They say it's a great environment. What was your experience like backstage, working for All Elite Wrestling?
It was pretty cool, pretty chill. Like I knew a couple people there that did like production stuff at Ring of Honor that went over to AEW. So I met those people first. And then you kind of see people that you wrestled on the indies or you saw them at Ring of Honor, like the Young Bucks, Kazarian, I think Cole, all left right when I got there. So like I met them in passing. And even when I like ran into Cody, like he remembered who I was. Like, oh, I only met you like twice, but that's awesome. Like cool base value thing. Super chill. Like they were just like, hey, relax. You're a family. Like we treat everyone with respect here. Don't be afraid to step on people's toes. Like go introduce yourself, say hi to everyone. I'm introverted, so I don't like doing that anyway, but everyone's super friendly, super nice. I got to talk to Tony Khan for a little bit after I wrestled Adam Cole, and he was just like, hey, man, you're fucking awesome out there, like super physical. I was nervous a little bit, but he's like, you're great. I've been watching your stuff in San Antonio. And like, just to know that they're watching me do my thing in Texas and like, this is a $1 billion company, like super cool.
I mean, that's got to feel good. You had mentioned talking to Cody.
Mm-hmm.
What was your reaction seeing him leave and going to WWE?
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, what? I understand after listening to a couple of his interviews, like, hey, his dream isn't done yet. Like he still has a goal that he wants to achieve. So I completely understand business is business. I was just kind of shocked. Like never would have expected that he might have been the first one to, I don't know, I guess just like let the contract run out and then hey, I'm gonna go back to WWE and go win this World Heavyweight Championship that I want to go do.
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
that was
awesome. Watching WrestleMania, goosebumps. That was so cool.
Yeah, the production values through the roof. It's ridiculous.
So getting into your training, you got your training, you did your training in the MCW Training Center in Maryland. Let's talk about the late, great RJ Meyer. How did he influence your career? What was it like working under him?
Oof. He was super intimidating when I first met him. Wrestling's just intimidating alone. So when you go to that building and you just hear the sound of people bumping and like hitting the ropes, and you kind of see how raw it is to train to become a professional wrestler. You're just like, we're in this flea market. There's just 2 rings, some mats for stretching, and like, that's it. You better show up there prepared, ready to get your ass kicked because you need to be in great physical shape before you start doing that stuff. And then RJ was like the bad cop, and then our other coach, Dean Gutrich, is like the good cop. And RJ would yell at you if you messed up like the littlest of things and make you feel like shit. And like, hey, you've improved since last week, so you're getting it, but I'm going to be hard on you because I see potential in you guys. He would call us, like group of us, his machines. Like I see potential in you guys, and that's why I push you so hard. And I see that you're improving. So like you give you those like hard, tough dad moments, and then be like, no, I'm really proud of you guys. Because when Moses and I won the tag belts, we were so used to coming back through the curtain getting screamed at, no matter what. He'd yell at us every single match, and he's like, damn, you can't do anything right. And then we won the tag belts. And he was just like, man, I love you guys. Good job. I'm proud of you. And we were just waiting for Butt screaming at us, and that never came. And it was just like that dude was like a father to everybody there, honestly. He cared about everyone. He would check in on you if you weren't coming to practice, or like you could text him, call him at any time. His legacy means the world.
So yeah, it seems like there's a lot of people that had a lot of great stories. I was doing, some research on RJ, and there's a lot of people that have great things to say about him as a person, talking about, what they can do outside the ring, how he's more of a family member as well sometimes in those moments.
Yeah.
I've got a really boring question. You've probably been asked thousands of times, but what is the proudest moment so far as an in-ring performer in your career, would you say?
Proudest moment. That's tough. I think there's like a handful. There's like, I would say 3 main ones. Moses and I wrestled at the Hammerstein Ballroom. We were in like a triple threat tag match in front of a couple thousand people. That was kind of like our first big intro to the world. And I was like, wow, that's Like, just take a moment to look at all these people here on on the main card. What? I didn't even know that was gonna happen. It's like taking all that in, getting your little moments. I remember we put like the bruiser through a table. I was nuts. The second one probably would be the 6-man tag belts when we won those from Mexico Squad. Even though it's front of no crowd, in the history books, no matter what, like if I have to retire tomorrow, my name is gonna be cemented in Ring of Honor lore forever. That's cool. I was a kid that just grew up wanting to be a wrestler, and somehow I'm doing this. Last one would probably be when I wrestled Moose last month. He's probably the best competitor. Him and Weston Blake that I've wrestled, who pushed me the most in the ring, physicality wise, like doing the amount of spots that we did, selling, telling the story. And I remember after he like low blowed me, this asshole, to win. But I remember just laying there, and it was like this outer body of experience where I could just hear the crowd chanting Kaun's house. And like I don't think I'm a great baby face. People were just generally chanting for me and like applauding this match. I was just laying there like, this is what we perform for, right? Like, you're doing your job, people are chanting on their feet, clapping for you. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is fucking crazy. Like, this is the life. Nothing's gonna match like the adrenaline, the feelings you get when you perform really well and people are just chanting and applauding your name and you're just laying there like, I'm just laying out here in some like wrestling trunks and boots.
That's the beautiful thing about wrestling fans is they don't care if you're a face or a heel. They just want to see a banger match. And I mean, that's something that you were before you were a professional wrestler. You were a fan. So what really drove you to professional wrestling? You had mentioned that it was always your dream. So who was really the person that inspired you to be who you are today?
Oh, definitely Jeff Hardy. I don't know what it was about the Hardy Boys back then, but I remember
Just
watching
hit different.
It did, honestly, like the WrestleMania 2000 ladder match, then you had the TLC matches. You had the moment with Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker when he almost won the heavyweight championship belt, that ladder match, and then Taker chokeslammed him off the top. He was just like that pure baby face to me, and he's also very creative. I went to school for art, like fine art, did painting and sculpture, and like I would see that in the documentaries they did about him. I'm like, that's so cool. This dude is like the enigma. He's all tatted up. He likes to paint himself, and then he's a kick-ass wrestler. I just wanted to be like him.
Yeah, I mean that's a great person to build yourself around. I mean,
he kind of changed the game. I think he's
Really
revolutionary.
Really.
So now that kind of answers part of our question coming up, but I was going to ask you about who you're looking, when you look at the AW roster, it's a very, very, very thick roster. It's very loaded top to bottom. What are some names that you mentioned that you're looking most forward to having a match with here in the future?
Danielson, Moxley, those two for sure. I've been studying those guys for a couple of years. Yuta. Sorry about that.
Oh no, you're fine. I want to stop you right there for a second because I mean, you just listed 3 people who happen to be in a faction together.
That's true.
Is that a call out?
I mean, you can take it as you want.
All right, Tony Khan, you heard it here first. No, I'm sorry, but yeah, keep going. I'm interested in hearing these.
I think those 3 for sure. Just because we crossed paths with Yuta and Ring of Honor, and like he was in the Pure tournament, and just to see his rise that he's had the past couple of months, like now he's part of this fighting club. Like, man, those 3 I want to wrestle with really badly.
See, that's something I've seen about AW right now is their ability to take a young star, pair him with a veteran like Chris Jericho, John Moxley, Bryan Danielson, and see them grow and how they have the ability to take the young talent and grow them with the older talent. If you were to be paired with, a star in AEW or someone who's been a veteran and someone to help build you, who would you choose off that roster?
That's a good question. I mean, I think I have one of the greats in Tully, but otherwise. Aside
from Tully.
Yeah.
Probably FTR. I'm a huge fan of theirs. I enjoyed the work that they did back in the E. This old school style, smash mouth, no flips, just fists. I love it. I wanted to wrestle those guys. I just learned from those, picked up their brains. They made tag team wrestling relevant just with the Young Bucks and like, hey, we're gonna be the greatest tag team of all time. Pause. I'm gonna try to get there too. But they're killing it right now.
Yeah, so that's the thing about that All Elite Wrestling. They have a really great tag division, so it's nice to see. There's a lot of dream matches in that division, a lot of really good matches they have, and they're the Ring of Honor champions right now, tag champions. So we might see that match come down here soon.
I think there's some story there, so definitely gonna happen.
So what is your end goal and with this
In
company?
5 years, where do you see yourself?
This is the job interview question.
Yeah.
In 5 years, hopefully a world champion. Honestly, that's the end goal. I've talked about being a huge fan of Michael Jordan's The Last Dance, and like he won that first championship. It's like, all right, let's run it back. Let's win that second one. Got the 5. Like that's the mentality that I have. I think about, you hear what Austin says, like if you're not in this business to be a world champion, why are you in this business? That's the goal. That's the ultimate goal, to headline the pay-per-view, the main event as the world champ. That's what I want to do.
Well, I could definitely see you doing it. I mean,
I think so. Hopefully, I'm just gonna keep working. That's all.
there you go. That's all you can do. I mean, really. But I don't think we really have many more questions. Is there anything that you're wanting to say to our millions of viewers?
Just follow me on socials. That's all. Follow _Kaun on Instagram, the Kaun on Twitter. I'm wrestling a lot. I'm all over the place. I'm being Kansas City next week. Be all over Texas. I might make it out to Seattle eventually. I might be out in the UK, hopefully sometime in the summertime. I'm all over the place, so just watch out for me.
You're coming to Indiana in November, right?
I believe so.
You're going to get us backstage passes?
We'll see how far I get elevated in the next few months.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Kaun. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate it. I mean, seriously, it was just a long shot we took. And now, I mean, we're in talks with Ron Hunt as well. So
hey, there you go.
It says a lot about you as a person, because a lot of wrestlers either use these platforms to, get some kind of publicity, but you gave us the ability to do an interview, and we have 17 subscribers. So I mean, for someone of your star power being all at wrestling, signing and to give someone of our channel, we need a start. And I appreciate you taking that time with us. It means a lot.
Hey, no worries. I appreciate it too, man. Thank you for reaching out. If anything, I'm just trying to help, again, get my platform, get myself out there, but then help podcasts like yourselves get a bigger platform. So just people helping people.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's an honor speaking with you, and we appreciate your time.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Let's stay in touch. See if we can get a collab going in the future.
Will do.
All right. Take care, my man.
Have a good one.
You as well. That was sick.
It's pretty good.
Whew.
Oh, hang on.